Bloomberg Audio Studios.
Podcasts, radio, news.
This is Bloomberg Businessweek with Carol Massar and Tim Stenovec on Bloomberg Radio.
All right, something that we talk about a lot is what's going on in the private markets, whether it's private credit or in particular private equity. On private equity alone, funds last year returned the lowest amount of cash to their investors since the financial crisis some 15 years ago. This is according to Raymond James Financial. And that's been hampering buyout firms in their efforts, Tim, to launch new investment vehicles.
Okay, so that's one way we talk about private equity when it comes to our program. But let's switch it up and lift up the veil on what it's like, at least for one person, to work in what many people would consider a rarefied world of finance. We're talking private equity and hedge funds. Carrie Sun is the author of a new book. It's called Private Equity, a Memoir. She joins us from Jersey City this afternoon. Carrie, good to have you with us. Congratulations on the new book. I want to start with your story. That's what this book is. You've got a great story. Tell us how you found yourself working for a billionaire hedge fund manager.
Thank you so much, Carol and Tim, for having me today. I am a writer now, as you say, author out with my first book. But before that, I worked in finance. And in college, I majored in math and finance, and I minored in economics. After that, I worked as a quantitative equity analyst. I did that for several years, started business school at Wharton, dropped out, wanting to change career paths, spent a few years kind of taking classes in the humanities, like philosophy, English literature, just giving myself the time and space to kind of discover how I might want to change my path or pivot. During those years, I was contacted by a recruiter through LinkedIn who kind of pitched me on this opportunity that he described as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to work as the right-hand person to a hedge fund billionaire. I think the firm would describe themselves more as an investment firm, but certainly the hedge fund side was a big part of their business. So I kind of jumped at the opportunity because I didn't come from money. I needed a day job, and so I really thought that this was the opportunity for me. I could have use my background working in finance while at the same time maybe having some free time after work to start my other creative endeavors.
Carrie, many would say that in the financial world that getting to be kind of the right-hand assistant to a billionaire founder of an investment firm, hedge fund, or however you want to describe it, is like a great way to really learn the business. Your experience, though, doesn't sound like you liked it at all.
I have to say it was a wonderful learning experience. I came from a quantitative equity side, so what they were doing was far more fundamentally driven investing, and it was just night and day. Whereas when I was in quant equities, my phone often just did not ring. I was just sitting in front of a computer, coding, analyzing data sets, building stock selection models. At this other job, being the right hand to a billionaire in the private equity and also hedge fund space, I was on the phone with often 2 or 3 people at the same time, having them on hold and trying to just deliver information, trying to triage emergencies and situations. And it was just a very, very different and extremely busy time.
In the memoir, the names have been changed. Not just the names of individuals, but also the name of the firm that you worked for. Talk to us about this decision here and why you ended up changing the names.
Yes, I chose to anonymize nearly every character in the book, as well as the firm, because I really wanted to focus the story on my story. And I didn't want a memoir about me to end up being a memoir about someone else, maybe my boss or the firm that I was at. And I really wanted to center it on my personal story, one woman's experience working in this world. And I think there are wonderful, wonderful memoirs and many books written from the perspective of bosses and owners of these firms, but I really wanted to write a book from the perspective of an average worker.
Have you heard from the folks who
know you?
Yeah, who know you, who maybe see themselves in parts of the book? What have you heard?
I have heard nothing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Why did you do this? I don't understand, because it doesn't sound like you're looking to be like God, this was terrible. I learned some things about myself. And maybe you learned that this wasn't for you. So I'm trying to understand why. Why do it?
Well, as a writer, I'm very interested in particular, in topics that I actually just don't know the answer to. And so the time that I describe in my book, which is about 2 years, 2.5 years, they were the most intense years of my life. And to be honest, even right after and years after, I couldn't really describe what had happened to me. I knew I was burnt out, but I really just didn't actually know what had happened. And then, during my MFA, I went to the New School for my MFA, and I was taking a look at my peers. They were all working multiple jobs just to be able to survive in New York, to fund their creative endeavors, and in this case, an MFA. And I really thought that, that's something I had tried to do. I burnt out trying to do that. And I really think I have something to say about the way we work now and the way we live, and how the work-life balance, and how difficult it is to actually achieve that balance.
Okay, so let's talk about that, because that is something that we talk about a lot here on Bloomberg Businessweek. You've worked in some of the most high pressure situations, and it's interesting that you say you ended up leaving business school to switch careers. A lot of people do go to business school, in fact, to switch careers, and then you ended up actually after business school sort of staying on the financial side of things, and which is a really, really interesting journey, especially until now becoming a writer. So tell us about work-life balance and what you learned and how you came out on the other side.
About work-life balance, I really think that, it was pretty clear from me very early on that this was going to be an extremely intense job. However, I still told myself, I'm all in, I'm down for whatever cause this is, and I'm going to make it work. I blamed myself a lot for not being able to actually do my day job and have time outside, or just even time to recover and be able to, be fresh Monday morning. And so in order to get this job, I went through 14 interviews, something like 10 reference checks. And then I also, didn't get a job description. On my first day of work, I received my job description from my boss, and it listed nearly 100 bullet points of responsibilities, And so I just, in terms of work-life balance, I would like, hopefully anyone who is reading or listening to just think about, their job description and whether their job description. So my job description actually had a line item more than one line item that was some version of going above and beyond, and so if that,
good luck with that.
And so if that is in the job description itself, and there are like 10 times, it's a recipe for.
We'll have to talk to LinkedIn about that. I hear what you're saying. Interesting perspective. Carrie Sun, good luck with the book. Author, Private Equity, a Memoir, joining us from Jersey City, New Jersey.